Well, Jim, I'm willing to bet that the writers of Raw aren't starting their day with Magic Spoon or any other reasonable breakfast that will actually help them, because that show sucks.
I think those writers may have a spoon up their nose. I don't know. But has it come to this? We've got to talk about a little current wrestling here. We don't watch Raw as a program because life is too short. But we mentioned earlier in the program they have a fascination now with fire, and apparently with Randy Orton at the center of all of it. And who's the little blonde girl on the swing?
Alexa Bliss.
Would you like some candy, little girl? So she basically shot a flamethrower in Randy Orton's face, and now people are saying, well, Cornette's he's always tweeting the footage of him and Ronnie Garvin. Actually, I just retweeted. But I threw what obviously could be seen as a ball of fire about the size of, what would you say, a volleyball, that landed in the guy's face, and it looked pretty convincing. It burned all of his fucking eyebrows off and the top layer of his cheeks and everything, but his face was still smoldering in the slow-mo replay. When he took the bump, his face was still smoldering on the bizarre. But even they didn't know how the fuck I did it, but it looked like something that could be done somehow. Did it not? Am I just making this up? Or looked like something that you could do and you didn't need cooperation of having a special effects person put a flamethrower in your fucking sleeve, and she shot him with a 10-foot-long burst of flame into the face, and he went down and gripped his face tightly and sold in agonizing detail for about 45 seconds with nobody coming to help him. And I guarantee you, if you burn something, the first thing you don't do is grip it tightly. But otherwise than that, it looked completely legitimate, right? And this was after that he had set the Fiend, a.k.a. a fucking mannequin, on fire on the previous show. So they got the fascination with fire. They're pyromaniacs. Just a pyromaniac. How? What do you want? How? What do you want? How? Anyway, see, I told you I was giddy today, Brian. We got to do this show earlier every day.
I think I like you better cranky.
Oh.
If you're going to sing. Ooh.
All right. I had to quit singing because of my throat. Yeah, people threatened to cut it. It's all right. Hey, I don't care if you love me. I don't care if you don't. One of these days. It's all right if you love me. It's all right if you don't. I'm not afraid of you running away, honey. I got the feeling you won't. There ain't no sense in pretending. Your eyes give you away. Something inside of you's feeling like I do. We've said all there is to say.
You can't avoid the issue. Randy Orton and fire.
Randy Orton on fire. So they burned him. He's burned. He's a crispy critter. He's the crispy critter from Canyon Creek. And he comes back on Raw. What's he got on his face? A tight, form-fitting, what looked like homemade wrestling mask on his face, with seams around the eyes and the nose that I'm feeling would be especially uncomfortable on burned skin. Isn't that what they tell you to do when you get a burn, Brian? Immediately wrap it up in some rough material and then go and do a promo on a wrestling program? Even if Garvin, he didn't have to use a lot of makeup. He was a little singed, but he did a little makeup and patched his eye, and that was it. His face was uncovered. But the content, these writers are writing movies now. They're writing movie scenes. This was verbiage. Nobody talks like this. And if you were an actor the level of a Jack Nicholson, possibly you could, but Corey, if you were an actor the level of Jack Nicholson, you'd be having much better verbiage handed to you by prominent screenwriters that would sound a lot more convincing than this horse shit. He's in a dark room with this mask on and being real dramatic and multiple takes, because I'm sure they were having him do it word for word because there was no emotion in it whatsoever. Nothing that you could believe. It's just a guy trying to be a movie actor. And this is not knocking Randy Orton because they want him to do this, apparently. I'm sure it wasn't his idea that, well, I'll put this mask on and be in a dark room and say a bunch of shit that I would never fucking say. But are they going now for some kind of Emmy, an acting award, or they might get a Corny for this one? But is that what they're going for? This is not. It's not wrestling. It's bad acting and independent filmmaking at this point, is it not?
If I had to guess, I think they may get the Corny for best job of running off your audience based on this stuff. Because I also saw other clips I didn't send you of Alexa Bliss on her swing set again in the middle of the ring.
I don't want to ever see that again.
It's just really not good. And again, I've said this before, I don't blame the writers, because I think if the writers were left on their own, it probably wouldn't be this. This is Vince McMahon. This is writing for Vince McMahon and the silly bullshit that he wants wrestling to be in 2021. This is Vince.
I don't think he's dragging them kicking and screaming, though.
Well, I don't think any of them are putting up a big protest because they want the cushy job.
Well, fuck them then. I've always been against writers in wrestling.
I am too.
And I have seen no evidence of late from any company that has writers that I should rethink that strategy. So I don't know what anybody was supposed to take away from that. And it just went on and on. And it's not like it was a story that you would be interested in that he was telling, that it was just fucking dreary, attempted acting with hokey dialogue over a preposterous scenario that could not be possibly believed even by the most ardent of Trump-sucking believers. Nobody with a brain past molecular size could not only believe any of this, but care about it, because it's so preposterous. He didn't burn this guy alive. She didn't really hit him with a flamethrower, and nobody's trying to make us believe any different. So, I don't know what to think.
I did see WWE on their YouTube channel put up a top 10 list of the top 10 instances of superstars throwing fire. Would you like to guess where Jim Cornette throwing fire to Ronnie Garvin is amongst the top 10?
I do. I was not even consulted on this list, so no, I'm not sure where it's placed.
Number 8, the 8th greatest instance of a superstar throwing fire.
What were the 7 that beat me?
Well, I gotta say, too, watching this, I watched some of these clips. Yours was one of the only clips where you could actually hear fans losing their minds during the sequence that it's happening. What beat you? Hold on, let me zoom forward a little bit here.
Yeah, because by the way, I'm wondering also, did Alexa Bliss get any death threats for burning Randy Orton? Did Randy Orton get any death threats for burning The Fiend? I've published some of mine.
Number 7 on the list, X-Pac shooting a flamethrower gun of sorts into Kane's face.
All right, I wasn't aware that happened, actually.
Number 6, from ECW, Sabu burning the Sandman. I think this is the one where he just threw a second fireball for no reason after he burned it. Number 5.
I will say, Sabu had the right to throw fire. He inherited that from the Sheik, but I never saw Sheik throw 2 of them one right after another.
Number 5, and I have a problem with this one being above yours, because the one with Ronnie Garvin is great. But The Undertaker burning Paul Bearer after the match with Mankind at In Your House. That's the one where you clearly see him holding the lighter and just lighting the flame. Like, there's no effort into hiding anything here. So I have a problem with this one being number 5. Number 4 on the list is Triple H burning Kane.
Okay.
Number 3.
I don't remember when any of these actually happened. Well, I remember the Undertaker.
This next one's incredible. Number 3 on the list of the top 10 occurrences of superstars throwing fire was Scarlett burning Keith Lee when he opened up the...
Oh, good God.
The binder and a flame shot out of it.
And it was so bad they had to edit it several times, and it looked like shit. And you know what? I come to think of it, he never even got a scab, did he, off of that?
I don't even remember, which is pretty sad. Number 2.
You know why this is the list of 10 greatest? It's because these are the 10 they had video on. Where Lawler burning Andy Kaufman, not there. The Sheik burning Bobo Brazil, not there. The Great Mephisto trying to burn Pat Patterson, but Pat, see, this is what the writers, they've heard about wrestling. They've just never actually seen it, but they've heard stories. Pat Patterson wore an asbestos mask so the Great Mephisto couldn't burn his face. That's where they got the mask from.
One of the great ones, too. Everyone loves Austin Idol as Demente Negro.
Yeah.
Attacking Lawler with the award for Mexican Wrestler of the Year. But the reason it happened, the reason he was there was he had been burned by Lawler before that. That set the whole thing up. But number 2.
Jerry Lawler, you filthy stinking pig. Look what you've done. To my face, Jerry Lawler, you tried to disfigure Austin Idol. You tried to disfigure the universal heartthrob. You are a disgusting, disgusting human being. You're very sick. You're a sick man. Jerry Lawler, you tried to disfigure my face. Look at my pretty face. I may be burned. The pain seared, coursed through my flesh. But Jerry Lawler, I will be back to get even. Jerry Lawler, your future is looking very, very dim.
Your daddy was a wino, and your mama's been with every Tom, Dick, and Harry from Bangor to Boston. That really was a great period for Austin Idol there.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Lance Russell, tell him in Mexican just to get out of here.
Tell him in Mexican, Eddie, just to get out of here.
No, not Eddie, Hector.
Hector, that's right, Hector, tell him in the... Yeah, Eddie Marlin didn't speak Mexican.
Number 2.
And Lance, that's the thing. Lance was not trying to be offensive. It's live television. He did 100 live hours of television a fucking year for 30 years. So yeah, Hector, tell him in Mexican to get out of here, for heaven's sake.
Number 2 on the list, Yokozuna's photographer burning Hulk Hogan with the flash and the camera.
Oh, God, I remember that was before I got there, but I remember seeing the clip, and I remember everybody talking about it. Even a fucking 600-pound giant sumo, Hogan still wouldn't drop the belt without some kabuki-ish fucking gaga going on.
And because Hogan left right after that, it went nowhere. There was never any further reference to the photographer. But number 1 on the list, of course, Alexa Bliss burning Randy Orton.
Jesus Christ. All right. There's a corny award in there somewhere, but apparently not a transition.
We really need to talk on the air on one of these shows, and we have some time until award season, but we need to talk about what exactly the corny awards should be, what it needs to be, different tiers of awards. Should there be awards for the actual show, things that we've done on the air?
This sounds like a lot of work.
Should it be just the awfulness of modern wrestling? Should it be things that you just want to award random people? There's a lot to talk about here, a lot to figure out.
I think one of the awards has to be the Don Knotts Ghost and Mr. Chicken Award for the absolute worst segment of television, quote-unquote, wrestling of the year. The horribleness and awfulness of it will never be forgotten.
It's going to be a lot of stiff competition for that one.
Boy, I tell you what. And by the way, did you hear Chuck Schumer when he said that
erection?
Donald Trump was the one who incited the erection at the Capitol? I said, well, it still makes sense because he's been fucking us for the past 4 years. Anyway,